Up is British-born Elizabeth Wood. She works as a public relations and marketing coordinator at QF, as well as a life coach. Now, the title of her talk is Identity Crisis. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth to the stage. Sit down. So, your name is Elizabeth Woods.
Yes.
You grew up in Leeds.
That's right, yeah.
You're wearing a hijab. You're also wearing a abaya.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how that happened?
شو رايكم؟ شكلي إنجليزية ولا لا؟ Well, thank you for having me. My name is Elizabeth Wood. I'm from Leeds. I was born and raised there. I'm from a Roman Catholic family, but my family aren't very practicing in Roman Catholicism. They would probably call themselves atheists. I became a Muslim when I was 19 years old, second year of university. And I decided to read the Holy Quran, but in English. I wanted to find mistakes in it, and I wanted to understand, why there's so much terrorism associated with Islam, and I just fell in love with Islam, and I decided to become a Muslim. And hijab came way later. It didn't come overnight, but I decided to wear it about 3 years later.
Follow-up question. So you've decided to wear hijab. Mm-hmm. Now I know for a lot of Arab girls in general, or Muslim girls in this region, it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, what was the most difficult experience you endured to become the person you are today?
Well, to be honest, hijab wasn't really that much of a big deal because I took my time with it. I didn't just wear it straight away. It took about, as I said, about 3 years to overcome my identity crisis. I would say the hardest thing was actually moving to Qatar because I came here totally alone, without my family, left everything behind that I knew, what I was familiar with, my culture, my lifestyle, just England in general. So I decided to brave it here. I mean, it was my own choice, so obviously I put myself in it and I took a risk, but I just wanted to be in a country where I could express myself more, be accepted as a Muslim, maybe try ahead at life on my own accord and be my own person.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well then, the theme of your talk is called Identity Crisis. So can you tell the audience about that and what it means to you and how you face identity crisis?
Well, some of you may know that identity crisis is simply unhappiness or a confusion about who you are and what you believe in. Maybe even who you are as a person, you're not really sure, or not knowing what the real purpose in your life is. So, in a nutshell, that was me when I was 19 because I was interested in Islam. I wanted to be a Muslim. I wanted to wear hijab eventually, and transitioning from the typical Western lifestyle was very difficult, as you can imagine. My parents often told me how I'm very selfish for making the decisions I made, and things like, my dad told me something, he said, if there was a World War III right now, it would be you against the entire British nation. So it's quite hard to swallow those type of comments, especially when it's from the people that you love the most. And it's quite lonely as well. Being a convert, a lot of people get excited about it and they're like, oh, can you say this in Arabic? Can you come here? Can you do that? Can you eat this? Can you visit my grandma? I get a lot of these types of comments, but you're only a novelty for a while, and then sometimes it's quite lonely because you can't fit in. You find like you can't fit in anywhere. Your non-Muslim friends tell you that you're not fun anymore, and then your Muslim friends might be a bit too strict for you, or not as outgoing or something. So it's quite difficult.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, then, if that's the case, then how did you overcome this? How did you overcome the identity crisis?
Okay, so it takes a while. I'd say that time heals everything. If I had to advise anyone who's suffering from an identity crisis, not necessarily spiritual, often people tell me that their parents are from a different country, but they were born and raised in another one, and then they ended up moving to Qatar, so they don't know really how to identify themselves. So identity crisis can be in all shapes and forms. I would say that it comes from yourself. If you're suffering from an identity crisis, it's because you're the one that needs to change. You're the one that needs to love the way you are and not be like defending yourself because of it. So the way that I got over it was simply I didn't listen to stereotypes. I stopped listening to people telling me what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. I tried not to be so perfect because converts are obviously, often put on a pedestal, and everyone thinks that, oh, you're a convert now, so you're like this perfect. I'm not saying go against your family or anything, but with diplomacy, it can really help. Seek help from the people around you, people who are similar. I did find it hard to fit in at the beginning, but I ended up finding people who are very similar to me, but from different walks of life, but have a similar story. So that would be my advice. Is there anything else? I mean, it's a struggle. It's a daily struggle. Okay, so like at my office, I get people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, Sheikha, وين مكتب Elizabeth Wood?" And I'll say, "أنا Elizabeth, تفضل." And they'll say, "لا أختي, وين مكتبها اسمها Elizabeth?" And I'll say, "Okay, well, actually, I'm Elizabeth, please." So we'll have this banter back and forth. So every day is like a struggle for miscommunication and like identity crisis.
Yeah.
But because I've overcome it, I learned to laugh at it, and it only gets annoying sometimes when I kind of have to reveal my life story all the time. But other than that, I've just learned to embrace it and to make new friends due to it, meet others like me, so maybe help others who are going through the same thing. So I hope that if anyone's suffering, they can talk to me after the show. I'll be happy to give you my business card.
See Elizabeth Wood.
Right. So this is my dad. Okay. Should I come? Pardon? Yeah. So as I told you, it doesn't look like it now because I'm smiling and I'm happy and I'm proud. But at the time when I was 20 or 21, I had this issue whereby he was telling me that there's going to be a war between me and you're on the Muslim side and we're on the Christian side and all this stuff. And one of the biggest milestones that affected me was that he ended up walking me to the mosque in Leeds for Taraweeh. So I'm really telling you guys that with time, things can change. And this is actually when he came to visit me in Qatar a couple of years ago, and we told him that would he like to try on the dress. And so he said yes. And I just thought that this was one of the sweetest moments of my life because it just showed how open-minded he became after years and years of stubbornness. So with time, things change, people change. He accepts me. He said that he's so proud of me, my mom as well. They're proud of me that I moved here by myself and I just did everything. Got the job at QF by myself and moved into my apartment and did all my awkward bits by myself. So even though it was hard, this is like the fruit that you get later. Acceptance.
Are there any new struggles you face, after all this time?
There are a few, but they don't bother me because I've overcome my identity crisis. So you get a lot of people kind of judge me on the spot, or they tell me things like, when my brother came to visit me, for example, because he's your typical kind of tall English, he's blonde and he's got green eyes and stuff, they think that like I'm a naughty cattery, like dating him. So like sometimes we'll be walking together and I'll get these like astaghfirullah. And I know that they mean us, but I can't say anything and then they're just assuming things and why should I care anyway, right? I'm not doing anything wrong, he's my mahram, right? So there are a few annoying things, but it's life. You'll get judged anyway, as I said before, so just enjoy it. Sometimes we do it on purpose just to annoy them. Or they get confused, oh, why are you speaking to him in English? Why don't you be proud of your Qatari roots? I'm like, oh, well, I'm not Qatari. So, yeah, nothing serious, just some little misunderstanding.
Things here and
little
there
things,
that you just brush over.
The pros outweigh the cons, definitely. I get invited for majboos like every single weekend. I'm always with people's grandmas, like, oh, come meet my Yadel. Yadel says hi. I have to talk to Yadel for like an hour. So, yeah. Pros definitely outweigh the cons, and I've met loads of really nice people due to my experience. So I don't regret anything.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.